Hey, how's it going? Welcome back. Mike here, Uncommon Pallor. Good to see you. I got a stack of 7 inches, been piling up here for a little while. I want to file them away, so I figured I'd show them first. So I'm going to do that right now. Going to start off with a band that was local to my area from London, Ontario, Generics. This is the Societal Hemorrhage 7 inch. It's from 1985, self released by the band. It was actually recorded in 1983 and released as a demo, but the singer got killed that same year. I believe he got hit by a car. So the band dissolved. But then in 1985, they decided to press the demo as a 7 inch and then just add an extra song they had kicking around. As to what it sounds like, I mean, it's definitely a punk band. The big local punk band here in the late 70s and early 80s was the Demics. So you'll find that most of the punk bands that started up around that time had a certain amount of Demics influence. These guys definitely no exception. You can hear Demics in there, although they lack the potential mainstream appeal that the Demics had. I would say they're kind of a more juvenile version of the Demics, maybe. Much younger sounding, I suppose. But this was everywhere when I was a kid, first getting into punk. But it was always a little tame for my liking at that time. I definitely wanted to hear wilder stuff. I have traded and sold copies of this over the years, but I've never kept a copy for myself. So this is the one. But yeah, Generics. Members went on to, the two guitar players went to be in a band called Condo Christ that played all the time when I was a kid. Good band, good people for the most part. Their drummer had come from a band called Crash 80s, who were kind of well-known early London, Ontario punk band. They had a single and stuff. But yeah, this is pretty good. There's a German bootleg of this that is almost an exact duplicate. So if you're ever, for some reason, looking for an OG copy of this, do your homework. Next up, a band that needs no introduction, I'm sure. 99.9% of the people that watch this channel will definitely know who this band is. And that's MDC. This is the Multi-Death Corporation's 7 inch from 1983. This is the version on Crass Records. This is, at least up here, back in the day, MDC was kind of a learner's permit band. Like, they toured so much, they got themselves known enough that people here, thousands of miles away from where they're from, everyone here had MDC shirts and records and whatnot. Quick bit of history, even though I probably don't have to give it, but they started out as the Stains in Austin, Texas. In about 1980, they moved to San Francisco, became MDC, just millions of dead cops. This is pissed off, well-written political hardcore, great lyrics. Dave Dichter has kind of an unmistakable voice. It's very hollow and cynical. The lyrics are delivered mostly in a spoken style, but he does spit those words out really fast. But you can understand all of them, which is a rare thing, especially in this day and age. But great band. This actually has one of my favorite MDC songs on it, that being Radioactive Chocolate. I love the riff in that track. And the cover is badass. I've always loved that. But the band's still, I believe, still going today. Their more recent stuff, I've heard a track here and there, and it's it's all right. But their early stuff, killer. It's surprising too with the length of time that MDC's been a band. I've only ever seen them once, and they were great. I've just never had a chance to see them again. I don't know why, but I would. Well, maybe not now. Probably. All right, 1985. Japan. It's on Love Records. It's a band I discussed just a few videos ago. Gastunk. This is the Mr. Gazime 7 inch. Gastunk, as I said in the in the other video that I discussed, Gastunk. This is one of the early Japanese hardcore, punk bands. I'm just not really totally sold on. They're weird. It's an odd style of metal and punk. The LP, I mean, it was okay. Eric Bauer suggested I get this, and as luck would have it, I had a copy available to me, so I picked it up. I do think I like this better than the material on the LP, but I'm still not totally sold on it. The harder parts of this vocally remind me of HR from Bad Brains at times. The mellower parts in this remind me of like the end credit music on like an anime movie. It's super weird. I don't know. Maybe I just don't get it yet. I'll keep it. I'll listen to it a bunch more periodically, and then hopefully one time it clicks with me. But cool to have. But if I'm gonna go for old Japanese hardcore, it probably won't be Gastunk. There's people in this from the Execute, the Cums, Dead Cops, some really good bands, but I don't like this as much as any of those bands. All right, going to Columbia, South Carolina, 1989 on Manifest Soundworks. Antischism, All Their Money Stinks of Death. Fantastic band, super underrated in my opinion. They kind of remind me of like an American counterpart to Conflict from the UK. Male-female vocals, definite anarcho-punk leanings musically. The fast parts are just scaled down, competently played, just charging up-tempo hardcore punk. Super good. Members of this band went on to be in a whole bunch of winners, like Damad, Dot Fucking Com, Initial State, Guyana Punchline. Not a loser in the bunch. Yeah, good shit. The first song on this, Foreign Policy, makes me want to kick the fucking walls in. So, yeah, and that's good. Next, over to Chicago. Also a 1989 release. This one's on Nuclear Blast. It's Impulse Manslaughter. Burn One Naked and Nuke It. With what may or may not be a yam bag, according to Jason Hook on the cover. This was originally released in 1986 on another label whose name escapes me, but I had an LP by this band way back when, and I seem to recall it being a lot more metal than this. This one here, you could tell that if they had, if they were more proficient with their instruments, they may have gone in a more metal direction, but instead they decided to play it safe and smart and just keep it back to scaled down, fast-ish, metallic influenced hardcore punk, I guess. Vocals sound like a schnauzer with laryngitis. Barked vocals, very scratchy sounding. It's pretty good. 8 songs on here, all short, completely tolerable. Next up, kind of an unnecessary record, but I picked it up because it was cheap and I didn't even know it existed. It's on Starving Missile Records. It's from 1986. It's a split between Mottek from Germany and Italian Masters Raw Power. Now the Mottek stuff, well, it's the Montag Song, Shout, is already on their Riot LP. They're just a great hardcore punk band out of Germany. Really crunchy guitars that kind of give it a kind of a metallic vibe, but definitely not metal by any means. Good song, shouted vocals, as the song title may imply. Yeah, it's good. It's already available on something I have. And then Raw Power, great band, super metal, while still staying hardcore. Not quite crossing over to crossover, but almost. But the thing is I have the Raw Power 7-inch, and this is it. Exact same versions. It's just they've taken the song Factory out of this, so no reason for me to own it, but I'm glad I do. Next, some German hardcore. Sons of Sadism. Play Loud. It's this is on Double A Records. It's from 1985. This is fast, short, shouted German hardcore punk songs, but there's a big U.S. youth crew influence to this. There's some whoa 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 choruses and whatnot. So there's a bit of melody. It's still angry and harsh enough for the lovers of hardcore, but there's some melody in here. It's good stuff. I'd never actually bothered listening to them before. I remember seeing their photos in Maximum Rock and Roll and whatnot, but I just never bought one of their records until now, and it's pretty good. All right, we got a split 7-inch here. 2 bands from Finland. It's from 1987. It's not on any label, so I'm guessing they just chipped in and released it themselves. It's a band called Massacre. And another band called Miquel Co. Now, Massacre I'm familiar with because I have the From Womb to Grave 12-inch, which is better than this. But it's really just kind of slightly metal influenced hardcore, kind of like lonely sounding vocals or some echo effect added to it. It's all right. It's nothing crazy, but kind of interesting, I guess. Miquel Co. is kind of a weird band to pair with Massacre because this is more almost like any of the 70s punk that I've heard from Finland, like stuff like, I don't know, Ratsia and maybe like Pele Miljuna or whatever his name is. It's kind of like that if you mixed it with like a 90s indie rock vibe. I think there's 3 songs on here. 2 of them are pretty catchy and one's kind of sucky. But yeah, I tried to look them up online and there is not a fucking stitch of information to be had. So whatever. Miquel Co. Massacre. Now we go to Belgium. 1987. A band I've spoken about several times on the channel. Agathocles. This is one of their early releases. If this is cruel, what's Vivisection then? This is on Seraphic Decay Records, which, kind of a celebrated label, I suppose. Early Agathocles, and this is the good stuff. As I've said before, a lot of Agathocles you get, it's just really poorly recorded rehearsal or live tracks or whatever. But this is the good stuff. It's really just textbook grindcore. But at the time this was done, it wasn't textbook anything. It's produced well enough. It's got, Monster in the Woods vocals. It's got lots of blasting craziness. Yeah, it's just good kind of early grindcore. Or as they call it, mincecore. But yeah, I'm kind of a passive collector of Agathocles stuff. Like, I don't go out of my way to pick their stuff up unless they do a split with a band that I really, really like. But if I see one of their records in front of me, I'll pick it up every time. Okay, bringing her back to the homeland. Toronto, Ontario. The early 80s. The metal scene was fucking bumping. And one of the more well-known bands at that time was Rapid Tears. And here's their 7-inch, Headbang, backed with Wonderland. It's on Chameleon Records. I'm pretty sure I saw the Metal Theologian show one of their LPs a while back. I've never seen this 7-inch before, so I definitely didn't want to let it go by. Kind of weird though. Like, Headbang is more of a like a late 70s punk song, but with kind of a heavy AOR influence. Kind of reminds me of Teenage Head at times, which is strange. But the B-side, totally like early traditional metal. Yeah, it's good. Just the A-side kind of was a lot more punk than I expected. But yeah, man, Rapid Tears. Next, we're going to Buffalo, New York, 1991. It's a band called Baphomet. It's called Boiled in Blood. Buffalo was known for their death metal in the early 90s. There was so many bands coming out of there. I had heard of this band back at that time. I never had anything by them until now, though. This one's on Afterworld Records. This is just really good, just early death metal. I mean, there's not really much more to say about it. It's recorded live, or so they say, because there's some argument about that online. But if it is an actual live recording, it's recorded well. Apparently, they got into a legal dispute with the other Baphomet, so they had to change their name. They became Banished. I've never heard their material as Banished, though. But, yeah, Baphomet. You're also from 1991, and also death metal, although from Frederick, Maryland. Exmortis. It's a Fade from Reality 7-inch. This is awesome. The riffs are good. It mostly keeps the slower pace. There's a few faster parts, but mostly they take the slow crushing route. Yeah, it's really good. It's on Rage Records. I may have to actually seek out some more of this because I've played it a few times, and every time I was getting into that shit. So yeah. Now we're doing a complete stylistic about face. A band from Big Bear City, California. Free Will. This is their 1988 demo put to vinyl. This is the 2021 reissue of it. It was released in 2016 initially by this label, Mankind Records. But I didn't get it that time, like the first time around, so this is the reissue of that from this year. This is, I'm pretty sure the guy that ran New Age Records, Mike Hartsfield, I'm pretty sure he was in this band. This is kind of, it's a weird one. I saw Pat at Ground Zero Salem. I'm pretty sure he showed this, and I seem to recall that he kind of had a hard time kind of describing it as well. I would say it's in that weird area, gray area, I guess, of late 80s California straight edge, where there was a lot of melody to it. So this comes off as kind of like the sloppy little brother of like Instead and Reason to Believe, maybe. There's a little maybe like later period Dag Nasty in it as well, I guess. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's just it's kind of sloppily played. It's not super tight, but it's melodic and it's straight edge. So yeah, whatever. It's pretty good. Now the rest of these are all ones that are released in 2021. So we have one here from it's on La Vida Es Un Mus, everybody's favorite label. It's the new 7-inch by Chain Cult from Greece. It's We're Not Alone, backed with Always a Mess. Talked about this band here before. Very melancholic, sad sack kind of punk, kind of post-punk, I guess. Good. They're always good, and this is no exception. These songs aren't quite as slow as I expected. They're always kind of like do that kind of trudging along. It's music that's made to sit on an empty bus when it's fucking raining, sitting there by yourself. It's just this kind of sad, boo-hoo, woe is me type stuff, but really well played. They were supposed to play Toronto, and coronavirus fucked that up, so fuck you, coronavirus. Next, another one on La Vida Es Un Mus. It's Tack Beer. The fuck is the name of this record again? It's a long one. Hold on. Victory belongs to those who fight for a right cause. This is a band of people from Morocco that apparently are living in Europe now, and they won't disclose their actual location for fear of persecution. So there's kind of this mystery element about the band. It's slightly blown out punk with female vocals. The vocals alternate between kind of a passionate, echoed chirping, maybe, and then occasional spoken word parts that kind of have that desperate kind of feel to them. Super good band, though. Goes right in accordance with modern DIY punk as released by La Vida Es Un Mus. So, yeah, I'm sure it's a welcome addition to their label because it fits in really well with the other stuff that gets released on that label. And Stevie over at Stevie's Vinyl, he fucking loves this shit. So, yeah, hey, Stevie. And last, Canadian band from Toronto. It's on Neon Taste Records out of Vancouver. Shout outs to Josh. yeah, it's Imploders. They're self-titled 7-inch. This is good shit. Like I said, band from Toronto. Kind of a mystery band. Like, ooh, who are they? Nobody knows. I have good authority. I know on good authority that there's people in here from Plastic Heads, School Damage, First Base, a bunch of others. This actually kind of reminds me of a German band called Dean Derg in a way. It's kind of like a revved up 77 style punk. But there's a heavy, like a Danger House, like 70s West Coast American punk influence in this as well, which is strange. And then a little Bad Brains. So that's what I get out of it. That's what I hear. People seem to be loving this record. It's getting good reviews all around. So, yeah, that might be your cue to pick up a copy if you can. Good stuff. Imploders. So, yeah, that's what I got. So, talk to you next time.